I didn't join Campbell's party. You're my husband. And Campbell joined us. Remember me?
Can we interview you?
He hasn't got
Heck yeah. How you going? We're at the Reclaim the Line rally, Coolangatta. We've got 25 years. You've been a teacher.
25 years, PE teacher and classroom primary teacher.
A few people today that were worried that students will be vaccinated against the parents' knowledge. Do you think that's actually going to happen?
I do think that could happen, definitely. I think the consent age has been lowered to, I think it was maybe 15 or 16 years old, where they can make that decision themselves, and they could make a decision against what their parents want them to do.
Yeah.
So it is worrying.
I think someone said 5 years old, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe it is 15.
Yeah.
It's still worrying, I guess, if you a 1-year-old, and I'd hate to be raising my children, and whatever my moral position, it's I'm providing for them, they're my children. I don't want the government or some politician telling me how to raise my child.
Exactly right, yes.
And it's not raising your children to live the best life. That's obviously the ambition of most parents.
Definitely, yes. And same as us. We're parents to two children,
yep.
And they have a right to their own choice as well. And we want them to say no if it does happen at school. We know of a school, an independent school, that have said if the government mandates vaccinations at the school and makes it a vaccination hub, they will not be refusing it. They will comply. And so, no, they will comply. A private school on the Gold Coast will comply with vaccination being a vaccination hub.
Yeah.
Obviously, their funding is affected. So
that's right. That's like coercion. How a lot of churches or in private schools, everyone's under the pressure to conform. With the financial money comes into the equation, and then it's the pressure's on.
So many parents are pulling their kids out of this school and just looking at homeschooling options because they are fearful that the school will have the children vaccinated without the consent. So it definitely is a real fear and something that many parents in Queensland are worried about.
It's a strange thing. So they want to give the child consent so they can make their own choice. But it's they're a kid, 15, 16, 17, 18. I was a retard idiot when I'm 34. I think it took me, I had to be married for 10 years and have a beautiful woman telling me how, don't do that, you idiot.
Exactly.
I'm right.
Yeah, so how can you expect a 15-year-old who doesn't know where they are in the world?
I'm going to raise my children. I'm going to tell them, you are an idiot. You're a kid. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. Parents should raise their children, and they are unformed. Brain is not developed to make choices, especially when coercion's in the equation.
Especially, and children can be easily influenced by their peers and also by teachers at school who are pro-vax and made to feel guilty or bribed with food, characters, which I've already seen a book with a character that's getting a jab, little storybooks, this kind of thing. And my girls already told me, we saw a Minions thing with a vax on his arm, to con the kids into doing it. It is a worry. And the fact that they're introducing doctors in schools. There's a list of schools around Queensland that will be getting full-time GPs there. That is a complete worry because there's a whole different agenda behind that.
And there's mate, I don't know if you want to get into this, but I don't know. Aren't they teaching weird gender stuff at school now? Aren't they? It's you can't talk about I'm a Christian, my tradition and culture. We're on the out. They're trying to bring in gender neutral language. They're trying to bring in a lot of things that are way out of my traditional culture, right? And what happened to multiculturalism apparently doesn't we're ghosts in society, people who are not a part of my tradition or culture, right? So that's weird. They want to teach critical gender theory, critical race theory. They want to now force vaccinate your kids. This is like, when did that happen?
Well, it's been coming for a long time. As a former PDHPE teacher, health teacher in the health curriculum, it's there. It's there for children to investigate your own choices about things and medical interests, for example, gender. And they're getting them to question, like you said, the pronouns. They're also...
Isn't there things where they'll make them like write a little essay about if you were gay or like what? Not happening, mate.
Oh no,
not interested.
It's there. It'll happen. It's in the curriculum. It's coming.
The kid, if you raise them full based and like badass, the kid could be like, nah, not interested. They could like write something on the twist and totally.
Yeah.
That's probably the only way you're going to get around it.
That's right.
It's terrible. And is that stuff also forced in these independent schools?
Of course, they have to go by the Australian curriculum and they will do these things.
And where does it come from? Like radical, the Greens, the Labor Party, like, and the Liberal Party, who are supposed to be right-wing, are just, they're just like complicit with this, like, oh, we'll just let it happen.
I'd say it's the socialist agenda in the education departments and the high up education writers in, say,
cultural Marxism.
Exactly right. It's coming through. There's a lot of writers that are socialist, and they're being their agenda.
They want you to think how they think. They want the young people to think how they think.
Correct. It's indoctrination in its most blatant form. And
I was watching Cobra Kai. Have you watched Cobra Kai?
No.
Have you seen Karate Kid?
Yeah.
So it's the new Karate Kid like series. And even in that, they were like, what's your gender-neutral, gender pronouns? She said something, this kid who tried to join the dojo, and he's like, the only pronouns you need in this dojo is sensei and student.
Exactly
like,
right.
But the thing is, like, they mentioned it, even though I liked the way the sensei dealt with it, I was like, no, they still mentioned it to push a weird agenda.
So kids think it's normalised. It's normalised to have a transgender person reading them books at the library. That's quite a normal thing apparently, and it's to normalise it so kids get it in the back of their mind. Oh, that's okay. That's quite normal.
Did you hear of the dude Gavin Wilson who like protests Brisbane City Council Library had a transgender story time. He protested it with his mates. The guy, Gavin Wilson, was gay himself, but he was like, no, this isn't good enough. Right, protested it. On social media, they bullied the kid so bad, even celebrities like the Veronicas jumped on the bandwagon. The kid jumped in front of a train because of the bullying. Yeah. So he was a gay kid who was against... He was against drag queen story time. He was like, no. Because some gay people are also like, no. Like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, exactly right. Because
it's a strange story. That is a story in Queensland. If it's like been swept under the rug. The Veronicas sang at this State of Origin up in Queensland this year. So they're like, yay, celebrate the Veronicas who bullied this kid into suicide.
Yeah, and it's...
You never hear of that?
No, of course not.
You didn't even know of that?
I didn't know of it because
How messed up is that?
Yeah, it's totally messed up.
The mainstream media's like put that under the rug. It's gone.
Oh yeah, we don't see any of that. No, you have to really know it. Like,
you know what's going on.
Yeah.
We went to that library and we tried to go in there with a sign, and I think it was like Dusty Bogan story time, and the security guard, we went up there like one at a time, sneaky, and then we got the camera up together and we pulled the sign out, and security's like, get out of here, took us out of the building.
Wow.
And we're like, what? We're just trying to do a little funny clip.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, and you have a right to, of course.
Apparently not.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is socialist Queensland. Yeah.
And are you from Queensland, New South Wales?
I was born in New South Wales, but I've been in Queensland for about 23 years.
Sick. So you've come across the border today?
No. I mean, I live in Queensland. Oh,
yeah, we're over the border.
Yeah, well, I'm over the border. Yeah.
So we can are you jabbed up?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, so we can go have a beer here today.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, actually, the good thing is I can visit my mum, who's right on the border, and bring her back without having to worry. Yeah.
Sick. I'm so keen to have a cold beer.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I hope that this border opening up to the unvaccinated is the first domino that falls and we all get our freedom back very soon.
Love to, but I'm sceptical that Anna will introduce another variant of COVID-19 and lock us down again. But we can remain hopeful that it's the beginning of the opening of everything, and hopefully the teachers can get back to work because they won't have enough teachers in a couple of weeks. That's the reason for the delay of the school.
There we go. We talked about this last week because I have heaps of teachers at church who were like, some of them are unvaccinated and they're like, I'm unvaccinated. They asked me to put in my vaccine status. I'm not doing that. Apparently 10% of teachers haven't put in our vaccine status. That's the real reason schools have been delayed 2 weeks.
Exactly.
It might be delayed even further.
Yeah, and they'll blame it on COVID and make us all lock down and do online learning. Well, that's ridiculous.
What about the New South Wales Premier said, they were like, I think it was 500 teachers down New South Wales didn't want the jab, and they were like, we will just fly in 500 teachers from overseas.
Oh, I've heard of that.
That is spitting in the face of the people of this nation.
Of course, and having teachers come in from overseas like a type of scab labour is unbelievable.
Broken English person teaching your kid how to read and write.
India, Canada, I've heard. The other thing I've also heard...
Filthy Canadians.
Well, nothing wrong with that, but...
They've got it even worse, don't they?
They have. It's always been hard to get a job and a permanent job as a teacher in Australia because they lowered the entrance to university and allowed so many people to be trained at university, but not enough jobs for them to go to. There's been people 20 years as a temporary teacher.
Yeah, so they waste 4 years of going to university. That's why we have a lot of people who go and spend up ticking up the student debt, and then they're like, there was no real job at the end of that study time.
Exactly right. And
I'm not so stupid to just start working as a concreter when I finish school.
No, concrete is a good job. Tradies all the way. I'd be promoting that with my kids, definitely.
Awesome. Hey, thank you for teaching our children. We need more good teachers like you.
Thank you very much.
God bless. You.